What's up, gamers? I'm your host, Cobra. Today on the Freeroll, how to get started in Axie Infinity for under 1 Ethereum. Axie Infinity is a play-to-earn game that is based heavily on Pokemon. They make no secret of that, and you'll notice the similarities right away. Essentially, you build a team of 3 different Axies. You can take that team into 2 different adventure modes, 2 different game modes. One is Adventure, where you're playing against the computer. The other is Arena, where you're playing against another player. The battle system is based on energy and ability cards that you get to strategically choose how to play. It's a really fun game because the battle system is quite in-depth. There's quite a variety of Axies out there with a lot of abilities, and there's a ton of mixing and matching that you can do through their breeding. There's a couple of different avenues for playing to earn. You can purchase a team and play the game. You'll be able to earn SLP every day, and that can be cashed out and converted to Ethereum. The other is through breeding Axies. This will cost you SLP and AXS, but you're able to create additional Axies that you can then sell on the marketplace. So before we dive in too deep, let's take a look at the goals for this video series. We're going to take a systematic approach to each stage of Axie Infinity, and we're going to be spreading our ETH out rather thinly through that process so that we don't have to deposit more than 1 Ethereum total. To do that, we are going to first start out by breeding to build our breeding farm. We need 3 zero breed or virgin Axies to start an infinite loop, which will be the ultimate goal for our breeding farm. So to do that, we're going to get the starter Axies a little bit cheaper by breeding them instead of purchasing them outright. The second stage is breeding to build a playable team. Now we're going to be breeding 1 type of Axie that is plants. You can choose any type you like to start out with, but focus on 1. And then to build out your team, you're going to have to either trade or sell and purchase the second and third or midline and rear Axies for your team. After that, we continue breeding to build out scholarship teams. My goal is to get 4 of them before we move on to the final phase, which is when we ultimately are breeding for profit. So you probably noticed in the goals section that each and every goal involves breeding. Now that's the most efficient way to get in. It's not the fastest way to start playing the game because, as you'll see, we are going to go through a few breeding cycles before we're actually having a playable team. But it's the most efficient way to get in, and that is the goal of this series. So really quickly, what is breeding in Axie Infinity? Your Axies are essentially genderless, so any 2 Axies can breed together so long as they haven't reached their lifetime maximum of 7 breeds. Each Axie has different traits or genes that make up the Axie itself and are passed down to the offspring. We look at the genes in terms of purity. That is what percentage of those are from that type of Axie. And then also from a consistency standpoint, how frequently do the recessive genes match the primary genes? The more of that you have, the more clean your results are going to be, and the longer that your Axie farm can continue to breed without having to replace any of the Axies. The cost to breed Axies is in SLP as well as AXS tokens. SLP is the token you'll be able to readily earn in-game. AXS is much more difficult to earn in-game, so you'll typically be going to your favorite exchange like Uniswap to get those. The cost to breed goes up each time you do it. It's independent per parent, so if one parent has never bred before, it's going to be really inexpensive on their side. If the other parent has bred 6 times, it's going to be very expensive to do that 7th time. All right, let's take a quick little demo of the 2 tools that I've linked below and recommend you play with and use for your own planning. This first one here is the Axie Now breeding simulator. Really simply here, I put in 2 potential parents that I own today. Make sure you turn on the advanced mode because that will show you more of the genetic output. And then you're simply clicking breed as many times as you like. 5 to 10 usually gives you a pretty good idea. Then it gives you some example results here. So this one, for example, 98% pure with really solid moves, the ones we're looking for. This one has a mutation over carrots, which makes it less ideal. If you run this a few more times, you can get a really good sense of the output for any set of parents and a quick snapshot of whether they're good or bad. The next tool that I really love here is the Chill Axie breeding calculator. Breeding in Axie Infinity is quite complicated and there's a lot of moving pieces, so this really simplifies things. I have input here a couple of potential virgin parents that we are purchasing at today's very low market prices of 0.12. We have a projected sell price of 0.1 after we have bred them 4 times. If you have any tokens already, you can put them in here. Since we are just starting, that's going to always be 0. Here is where you select the number of breeds that you want to do. Today, it's typically most efficient to breed 4 times. It's important that you update this calculator with current market conditions though as you make that decision, because sometimes it will make sense to do it a 5th or even 6th time. I have then put in here some projected sale prices for the offspring. 0.2 represents a very good result. 0.15 is a okay result, and 0.1 is one of those mutants that isn't going to be a very profitable one, but that's going to happen. This will obviously vary. Sometimes you'll go 4 for 4 and they'll all be great, and the market will be high and you'll sell them for a lot. Sometimes they're going to be all kind of not so good, and you might not even make a profit at all that round. So it's all going to depend, and you'll want to time the market based on its current conditions. But with this example, we end up with a net profit of 0.3. Down here it breaks down all of the cost. This is great for planning too, because it shows you how much SLP and AXS to purchase. It gives you today's price, so you know if you can afford to do it or not. And then it gives you the total cost and the total sales down here, resulting in that profit. So at the Freeroll, we are well on our way to earning money by playing Axie Infinity, and we're doing so with a starting budget of just 1 Ethereum. This is a strategy that you can deploy today. If you're interested in learning more and want to catch part 2 when it's available, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let us know if you have any specific questions, and we'll make sure to address those in part 2 as well.